The eternal mystery of the chosen one. Since the dawn of human imagination, stories have been told about special individuals who seem destined for something greater than the ordinary rhythm of life. From the ancient civilizations of Mesopotamia to the sacred traditions of India, from Greek myths to African tribal wisdom, almost every culture has preserved legends of individuals chosen by fate, the gods, or the mysterious forces of the universe. These figures, often called the chosen ones, stand apart not because they always sought greatness, but because greatness somehow found them. The idea of the chosen one is not limited to religion, mythology, or fantasy. It resonates deeply in human psychology. We, as humans, long to believe that life has purpose, that destiny exists, and that some people are entrusted with extraordinary roles that change the world for the better. Sometimes, these roles come with divine powers. At other times, they come with wisdom, compassion, resilience, or even the burden of sacrifice. But who are these chosen ones really? What roles do they play in human history and spiritual evolution? And more importantly, what hidden qualities might make you a chosen one in your own journey? In this exploration, we will dive into the many archetypes of the chosen ones. Each archetype carries a mission, a set of traits, and a way of interacting with the world. In this part, we will look at the prophet, the hermit, and the healer, three types of chosen ones whose lives reveal extraordinary truths about human potential. The prophet, voice of the divine. The prophet is perhaps the most recognized archetype of the chosen one. Throughout history, prophets have emerged in times of crisis, confusion, or moral decline, serving as the bridge between the divine and the human. They are the mouthpiece of higher truth, the messengers of divine will, and often the courageous voices that remind societies of justice, morality, and compassion. Role and purpose of the prophet. A prophet's primary role is communication. They are entrusted with visions, revelations, and warnings that are not accessible to ordinary people. Whether through dreams, mystical encounters, or deep meditative states, they receive knowledge that surpasses a human mind. But their mission is not simply to keep this wisdom to themselves. Instead, they are called to deliver it, often in the most difficult of circumstances. Traits of a true prophet. Unshakable conviction. Prophets often face ridicule, persecution, or even violence, yet they stand by their message. Courage. Speaking truth to power is never easy, especially when that truth exposes corruption, injustice, or immorality. Compassion. Despite their firmness, prophets often have immense compassion for people they guide, offering hope alongside warning. Examples across cultures. Every tradition has figures who embody the prophet archetype. In the Hebrew tradition, Moses and Isaiah stand tall. In ancient Greece, the oracle of Delphi functioned as a prophetic voice. In India, rishis and sages often received divine insights during meditation and shared them with humanity. In indigenous cultures, shamans often carried prophetic roles, guiding their tribes through visions. The cost of prophecy. Being a prophet is never comfortable. Their words often challenge established systems. Some are exiled, others silenced, yet their message continues to echo long after their departure. The true sign of a prophet is not popularity, but the enduring relevance of their truth. In modern times, the prophetic archetype still exists, not always in a religious sense, but in the voices of reformers, activists, and visionaries who dare to speak against injustice and awaken collective conscience. The hermit, seeker of solitude, guardian of wisdom. If the prophet is a public figure, the hermit is the opposite. Hermits withdraw from the noise of society, seeking clarity in silence. Yet, their withdrawal is not out of disdain for the world, but out of profound hunger to understand life's mysteries at their core. The purpose of solitude. In a world overflowing with distractions, the hermit reminds us of the power of stillness. By retreating into mountains, forests, caves, or even the quiet corners of life, hermits tune into the subtle rhythms of existence. Through meditation, prayer, or reflection, they uncover truths hidden beneath the surface of ordinary experience. Traits of the hermit. Introspection. They analyze themselves deeply, questioning their desires, fears, and illusions. Wisdom through experience. Unlike prophets, who speak the divine, hermits speak from lived inner realization. Detachment. Their happiness does not depend on material possessions or social recognition. Hermits across traditions. In India, sages like Vyasa and Valmiki withdrew into forests, later returning with monumental works that shaped civilization. In Christian tradition, desert fathers left cities to live in silence and prayer. In Taoism, hermits were known to retreat into mountains, seeking union with nature. Even in modern society, those who pursue long meditative retreats or minimalist lifestyles reflect the hermit's calling, the gift of the hermit. Though hermits may seem disconnected, their role in society is profound. When they return, even briefly, they carry rare insights that help people reconnect with meaning and purpose. People seek them out, sensing that their solitude has birthed a deeper vision. The hermit teaches us that true wisdom is often found not in the crowd, but in the silence between thoughts. The healer, restoring balance in body, mind, and spirit. Among the chosen ones, the healer carries one of the most compassionate roles. Healers are those whose touch, words, or presence brings relief to suffering souls. Whether through medicine, spiritual energy, counseling, or simple kindness, healers restore balance in ways that go far beyond physical health. The mission of the healers are entrusted with alleviating suffering. Their mission is not only to cure diseases, but also to address emotional wounds, mental struggles, and spiritual emptiness. Traits of the healer: empathy. They can feel the pain of others almost as if it were their own. Knowledge. Many healers acquire vast knowledge in herbs, therapies, or psychological methods. Nurturing presence. People feel safe and comforted in their presence. Healers through time. In every society, healers have existed. Ancient shamans combined rituals and herbs to treat illnesses. Ayurvedic doctors in India used natural remedies to restore balance. In Chinese tradition, healers work with qi, the life force energy. Modern therapists, doctors, and caregivers all reflect the healer's mission in their own ways. The burden of healing. Healers often face burnout, for they absorb the pain of others. Their challenge is to heal without losing themselves in the process. A true healer learns not only to give, but also to replenish their own spirit. The deeper dimension of healing. Perhaps the most profound gift of the healer is not physical cure, but the restoration of hope. A kind word, a gentle touch, or a deep understanding can sometimes heal more than any medicine. The healer reminds us that at the core of humanity lies compassion. And through compassion, true transformation begins. Chosen ones, we have seen three powerful archetypes. The prophet, who brings divine truth to humanity. The hermit, who seeks wisdom in solitude. The healer, who restores balance and alleviates suffering. Each represents a different path, but all are united by a common thread. They are guided by something greater than themselves. They live not only for personal gain, but for a mission that touches the lives of others. Perhaps you recognize a part of yourself in one of these archetypes, or maybe in all three. The truth is, the chosen one is not always someone distant, mythical, or extraordinary. Sometimes it is a quiet voice inside each of us, urging us to rise above the ordinary and embrace our unique role in the story of life. The many faces of destiny. In the previous section, we explored three powerful archetypes of the chosen ones: the prophet, the hermit, and the healer. Each of them revealed a unique way in which human beings can serve a higher calling, through divine messages, inner wisdom, or compassionate service. But destiny has many faces. The chosen one does not always appear as a teacher, a mystic, or a doctor of the soul. Sometimes, the chosen one feels emotions of the world with such intensity that their very heart becomes a bridge between pain and hope. Sometimes they endure unimaginable challenges, not to break, but to prove that resilience itself is a sacred gift. And sometimes the chosen one rises as a rebel, fearless enough to question what others accept blindly, strong enough to ignite transformation. In this part, we will explore the empath soul, the endurer, and the rebel, three archetypes that remind us that the chosen path is not always about authority or power, but about depth of feeling, strength in struggle, and courage in defiance. The empath soul, keeper of emotional truth. The empath is one of the most delicate and compassionate of all chosen archetypes. Unlike prophets who hear divine messages or hermits who seek solitude, the empath feels the emotions of the world directly. Their sensitivity is not a weakness. It is their sacred gift. The nature of empathy. Empathy is more than understanding someone's feelings. It is the ability to step into their emotional world and experience it as one's own. For an empath, joy and sorrow are not distant observations, but living experiences within themselves. This gift allows them to comfort, guide, and heal with unmatched authenticity. Traits of the empath soul: heightened sensitivity. They can sense emotions even when unspoken. Compassionate nature, always ready to help, listen, and comfort. Intuitive connection. They often know what others feel before words are exchanged. Empaths in society. In every community, empaths serve as emotional anchors. They may not always hold official roles, yet people naturally gravitate toward them in times of need. Whether as counselors, friends, caregivers, or artists, they create spaces where vulnerability is safe and healing is possible. The struggles of empaths. Their gift comes with heavy challenges. Because they absorb the pain of others, empaths often feel drained, confused, or overwhelmed. Distinguishing their own emotions from the emotions they carry for others becomes a lifelong struggle. Many empaths learn the art of boundaries, grounding, and self-care only after years of difficulty. The greater purpose. The empath's mission is not just to feel, but to transform emotions into compassion, wisdom, and action. They are chosen to remind humanity that the invisible threads of emotion connect us all, and that healing often begins with the simple act of being deeply understood. The endurer, the flame that never dies. While the empath embodies sensitivity, the endurer embodies strength. The endurer is a chosen one defined not by ease, but by survival, perseverance, and the ability to rise again no matter how many times life tries to bring them down. The sacred power of endurance. Life tests every soul, but some are tested far beyond the limits of ordinary human struggle. Endurers face hardships, poverty, loss, injustice, illness, betrayal. Yet they continue. Their survival itself becomes a message that no darkness is strong enough to extinguish the human spirit. Traits of the endurer. Unwavering resilience. They refuse to give up even when circumstances seem hopeless. Mental and emotional strength. Their courage lies not only in action, but in the way they hold faith through storms. Inspiration to others. By enduring, they awaken strength in those who witness their journey. Endurers in history and myth. History is filled with individuals whose lives embody this archetype: survivors of oppression, prisoners of conscience, and those who transform personal suffering into movement to change. Each reflects the power of the endurer. In myths, heroes who survive impossible trials often symbolize this path. The inner journey of the endurer. Endurers do not only survive, they grow. Hardship teaches them lessons that comfort and luxury could never provide. They become wise, compassionate, and unbreakable, carrying scars as sacred marks of their journey. The mission of the endurer. The chosen mission of the endurer is not merely survival, but transformation. By enduring, they show others that resilience itself can be a spiritual path. They remind humanity that suffering can give birth to strength, and strength can give birth to hope. The rebel, voice of defiance, agent of change. Among all chosen ones, the rebel is perhaps the most disruptive. The rebel does not seek peace in silence or guidance from tradition. Instead, the rebel looks at the world and sees its injustices, its hypocrisies, and its illusions, and refuses to accept them. The spirit of rebellion. Rebels are not motivated by anger alone. Their fire is fueled by authenticity. They are unwilling to conform to systems that deny truth, freedom, or fairness. Their mission is to question, challenge, and break down the walls that imprison human potential. Traits of the rebel. Courage to confront authority. They are unafraid to challenge leaders, traditions, or social norms. Authenticity. They refuse to live in pretense. They act in alignment with their deepest values. Vision of transformation. Behind their defiance lies a dream of a more just and liberated world. Rebels in action. Throughout history, rebels have sparked revolutions, movements, and reforms. They are the ones who demand rights for the oppressed, freedom for the enslaved, and dignity for the marginalized. But rebellion is not always political. Artists, philosophers, and even spiritual teachers have acted as rebels by breaking away from stale traditions and igniting fresh visions of truth. The burden of the rebel. Rebels often face rejection, isolation, or persecution. Their defiance threatens those in power, and their authenticity unsettles those who prefer comfort over truth. Yet, they continue, for their spirit cannot accept falsehood. The mission of the rebel. The rebel's mission is to awaken humanity from its sleep. They challenge us to look at the world not as it is, but as it could be. Their chosen role is to remind us that freedom is a sacred right, and courage is the first step toward transformation. The empath, the endurer, and the rebel may appear very different on the surface. One is deeply sensitive, another unbreakably strong, and the third fearlessly defiant. Yet together, they represent three crucial dimensions of the chosen path: the heart that feels, the spirit that survives, and the fire that transforms. Their lives remind us that destiny does not always appear as light, serenity, or wisdom. Sometimes it comes as deep pain, difficult trials, or disruptive rebellion. But in all these forms, destiny is at work, shaping chosen ones to become instruments of transformation for themselves and the world. The empath teaches compassion, the endurer teaches resilience, and the rebel teaches courage. And perhaps within you lies a spark of each, an ability to feel deeply, to endure greatly, and to rise against falsehood when the moment calls. The final paths of destiny. In the first two parts of our exploration, we uncovered 6 remarkable archetypes of the chosen ones: the prophet, the hermit, the healer, the empath, the endurer, and the rebel. Each showed us a different face of destiny, a voice of divine truth, the wisdom of solitude, the compassion of healing, the sensitivity of empathy, the resilience of endurance, and the courage of defiance. Yet the journey is not complete. 2 more archetypes remain: the warrior, who defends the innocent and stands as a shield of justice, and the seeker, who pursues truth, wisdom, and knowledge with unending curiosity. These 2 roles represent action and inquiry, courage and exploration, strength and wisdom. Together, they complete the circle of the chosen ones. The warrior, guardian of justice and courage. Among all chosen ones, the warrior carries one of the most visible and demanding roles. The warrior is not merely a fighter. They are a protector, a guardian, a defender of truth and innocence. Their mission is to confront danger, resist injustice, and preserve balance, even at great personal risk. 1. The essence of the warrior. Warriors are marked by their courage. They do not run from conflict when it threatens the vulnerable. They step forward, even when fear is present. But their courage is not reckless. It is guided by a moral code, a sense of duty, and the willingness to sacrifice themselves for something greater. 2. Traits of the warrior. Strength, physical endurance and skill, but also mental toughness. Discipline, years of preparation, training, and inner focus. Honor and duty, they are guided by principles, not just instincts. Protection of others. Their strength is always in service of those who cannot defend themselves. 3. Warriors across history and myth. From the samurai of Japan to the knights of medieval Europe, from the Kshatriyas of India to the tribal defenders of Africa, warriors have always held sacred roles. In mythology, heroes like Arjuna in the Mahabharata or Achilles in Greek legend embody the warrior spirit. Yet even beyond myth, ordinary soldiers, freedom fighters, and protectors of communities reflect this chosen archetype in the real world. 4. The inner journey of the warrior. While warriors live in action, their path is deeply spiritual. They must master not only weapons, but themselves. Anger must be disciplined, fear must be faced, and ego must be surrendered to the higher cause. The true warrior is not violent for personal gain. They fight only when necessary, and always with awareness of the weight of their actions. 5. The burden of the warrior. To carry the sword is also to carry sorrow. Warriors often face trauma, loss, and the guilt of battle. Their greatest challenge is to protect without losing compassion, to fight without becoming consumed by hatred. This balance is what separates the sacred warrior from the mere fighter. 6. The mission of the warrior. The warrior's mission is simple yet profound: to protect life and uphold justice. Their chosen role is to remind humanity that strength must always serve goodness, and courage must always be tied to compassion. The seeker, pilgrim of truth and knowledge. If the warrior represents action, the seeker represents inquiry. The seeker is a chosen one driven by endless curiosity, a thirst for truth, and a desire to uncover the mysteries of life. For them, the world is not a place to conquer, but to understand. 1. The nature of the seeker. Seekers are lifelong students. They are not satisfied with superficial answers. They probe deeper into the meaning of existence. Whether through philosophy, science, spirituality, or travel, they are constantly on a journey to expand their understanding. 2. Traits of the seeker. Curiosity. They ask questions that others often ignore. Open-mindedness. Willing to explore diverse cultures, philosophies, and ideas. Persistence. Their quest for truth never ends. They see every answer as a doorway to deeper questions. Guidance for others. By learning, they often become teachers, guides, or advisors. 3. Seekers through time. History honors many seekers. Socrates questioning the foundations of Greek society. Buddha leaving his palace to understand suffering. Explorers who map the world. Scientists who uncover the laws of nature. And sages who look beyond the material into the eternal. Each reflects the seeker's hunger for knowledge. 4. The inner journey of the seeker. The seeker's greatest battle is against ignorance, illusion, and complacency. Their journey is not always external. It is often inward, a search for the truth of self, the nature, consciousness, and the meaning of existence. Meditation, study, dialogue, and experience become their weapons of discovery. 5. The challenges of the seeker. Seekers often struggle with doubt. Their endless questions can sometimes lead to confusion or a sense of never arriving at certainty. Yet, this restlessness is their gift. It keeps them moving, growing, and evolving. 6. The mission of the seeker. The seeker's mission is illumination. By seeking knowledge, they light paths for others, guiding them through ignorance and fear. They remind humanity that learning is not a burden but a sacred journey, and that truth is not an endpoint but a lifelong pilgrimage. Conclusion: the circle of the chosen ones. Now that we have explored all 8 archetypes, the prophet, the hermit, the healer, the empath, the endurer, the rebel, the warrior, and the seeker, we can see that each represents a facet of the human soul. The prophet speaks divine truth. The hermit reveals wisdom in silence. The healer brings comfort and balance. The empath feels the world's emotions deeply. The endurer shows the strength of survival. The rebel ignites transformation through defiance. The warrior defends life with courage. The seeker uncovers truth with curiosity. Together, they form a tapestry of destiny, a reminder that the chosen one is not limited to myths or legends. They live among us and perhaps within us. You may not fit into one archetype completely. In fact, most people carry aspects of several roles. You may be an empath with the endurance of survivor. You may be a seeker with the courage of a warrior. This blending is not weakness. It is uniqueness. It shows that destiny shapes each person in ways that cannot be confined to a single definition. Ultimately, the message of the chosen ones is universal. Every life has purpose, every soul has a calling, and every heart holds the potential to transform the world. The chosen one is not always someone far away. It might be you, living your journey, carrying your trials, and waiting to embrace your true mission. As we come to the end of this journey, one thing becomes clear. The idea of the chosen one is not just about heroes in ancient myths or distant legends. It is a reflection of something far more intimate, something that touches every single human soul. Each archetype, the prophet, the hermit, the healer, the empath, the endurer, the rebel, the warrior, and the seeker, represents a different dimension of human potential. But here is the truth. You do not have to be limited to one. Life is never so simple. Some of you may feel the compassion of the healer, while also carrying the resilience of the endurer. Others may find themselves questioning the world like the rebel, yet also thirsting for knowledge like the seeker. This blending of roles is what makes each life story unique. The message hidden in these archetypes is not about comparison, nor about perfection. It is about awakening. It is about recognizing that within you there is more than the ordinary routine of daily life. Within you is a voice that whispers for truth, a spark that burns for courage, a heart that longs for comfort, and a spirit that refuses to give up. That, in itself, is a mark of being chosen. History remembers prophets who spoke of the divine, warriors who fought for justice, healers who brought peace, and rebels who challenged injustice. But just as important are the countless unnamed chosen ones, the mothers who endure for children, the teachers who lit a flame of knowledge, the friends who stood unshaken in times of despair, and the seekers who carried questions that shaped the future. They may not appear in holy texts or epic tales, but they, too, were chosen. So, as you reflect on these archetypes, ask yourself, which qualities are awakening within you? Which path calls to your soul? Are you here to heal, to endure, to seek, to protect, to guide, or perhaps to combine them all into your own destiny? Remember, the journey of a chosen one is never about comfort. It is about growth. It is about courage when fear seems overwhelming, compassion when the world feels cold, and persistence when life feels impossible. Every trial you face is shaping you, polishing you, preparing you to rise into your role. The truth is simple yet powerful. You do not need permission from the world to be chosen. You already are. The challenges you faced, the questions you hold, the strengths you carry, and even the scars you bear, they are not accidents. They are signs. They are the silent proof that your life holds meaning beyond the ordinary. Carry this awareness with you. Walk with courage. Lie with compassion. Seek with curiosity. And when the world seems heavy, remember, you are not here by chance. You are here with purpose. You are, in your own way, a chosen one.